All right, so I picked these problems that just ask you to order the numbers from least to greatest. Figured this might cause the most questions. So if you followed me along with the practice, we are going to first start with number 16. So this is asking me to take 38%, 18 25ths, and 41 hundredths and put those onto a timeline and just being able to compare them. So I'm just going to go ahead and point 3 plots because I just want to know from least to greatest. And the exact place on the number line doesn't really matter. So if you are just handwriting this, just write a line and have 3 points on it. That's all you really need. Okay, so let's start. So 38%. I'm going to put all of these into decimal form because decimal form is just the simplest to be able to compare. So 38%, if I take that, and remember, this percent, that means 100. So over 100. So I divide by 100 by going 2 places to the left. So that gives me 0.38. All right. Just erased everything. That's fine. 0.38. We can read that. And then next is 8 25ths. So to take a fraction and put it into a decimal, I'll take 8 divided by 25, which gives me 0.32 or 32 hundredths. All right, and my last one is 0.41 or 41 hundredths, which I already have. So now it asks me to plot it. So I look at my first decimal point. I have 3, 3, and 4. 3 and 3 are both the smaller numbers. And then I have an 8 and a 2. So I know that my 32 hundredths is my first point. So I put 0.32 as my decimal place. And then in parentheses, I'm saying, remember, that was the 8 25ths. Okay, so then my next point is going to be my 38 hundredths. And that, remember, was my 38%. And I knew that because I still have a 3 and a 4 for my decimal points, which then leaves my 41 hundredths to be the last point. So that is what your homework should look like. Let's do one more, just for good measure. So I have 68%, 63 hundredths, and 13 20ths. So my 68%, remember my decimal is right here as a percent. I divide by 100, move it over, so I have 68 hundredths. I have 63 hundredths, and my 13 divided by 20, because that's how I take a fraction and put it into a decimal. It gives me 13 divided by 20 is 0.65. All right, so in order to compare decimals, I look at my first decimal point, 6, 6, and 6. All right, they're the same, so I go to my next one. Okay, I have an 8, a 3, and a 5. My lowest was my 3, so 0.63, and that was by itself, so I don't have to put any parentheses. My middle number is then 5, because 5 is less than 8. So I put 0.65, and remember, that was 13 20ths. And my last point is my 68%, which I wrote in decimal point, 68 hundredths, 68%. All right, so that's what your homework should look like. Hopefully this